This conference will now be recorded.
Hello all, welcome back for another session on performance testing using NeoLoad. Let's quickly recap on what we had discussed in the previous session. So in the previous session, we kind of discussed about the workflows. Let me go here. Okay, so we discussed about the workflow. Workflow is just the a series of user action, right? And we discussed on how how a workflow can be designed, and we have also looked at a simple example on Wikipedia. We are launching the Wikipedia, searching for uh, Elon Musk, and then clicking on the Elon Musk link, right? In performance terms, all these user action is going to be called as a transaction, and transaction is the keyword that is going to be used in performance testing. So transaction, what is a transaction? Transaction can be of group of requests or group of pages under again requests would be there, which will together can be called as a transaction, right? This makes it little easier for us to uh, calculate the response time of a group of requests. That is all, right? And then we have discussed about this client server and architecture, okay, where a client is sending a request and server responds to the client. Whatever that client sends is going to be called as a request, and then server response. Okay, and of course we discussed about this request components and then response components. These are the four components are there with request, method, URL, and headers. And bodies are optional. Method, URL, and headers are required. It's mandatory. Without that, it is incomplete request. And from response components, these are the three components. Response code, also called as a status code, which gives us information on whether what kind of response that we have got, and headers and its body. Okay, and we did see on the request and its response. Just give me a moment, it's just getting loaded. Okay, fine. So if I go to, so I've just selected a request here, then I've clicked on this advanced. Okay, and here we click on this recorded request. So if we see this, get is the method, and there's a link, and then followed by headers. Similarly for response, so there is a 200, which is the status code or response code, and then followed by a series of headers, and then the body. Let's continue further, and let's check on the installation. Okay, so I'm just closing this. So how do I download NeoLoad? So neotis.com or Neotis is the um, original developers of NeoLoad. Neotis is being acquired by Tricentis. Okay, now you can see this, right? Neotis, a Tricentis company. Just click on this try NeoLoad. This would take you to this web page. Okay, I think yeah, this has got changed to Tricentis, and click on this button. Go to download. the latest version. Again, it is coming back to this neotest.com. So the latest version is 8.0.2. So based on the which operating system that we are using, and then what kind of architecture that the CPU is on, this can be downloaded. I think nowadays it is 64 bits most of the times, but you can always check in your operating system properties, where if it doesn't say anything, or if it says like x86, it's probably a 32 bits, or if it is 64 bits, explicitly it will say it is 64-bit architecture. So I'm on Windows, so I can just simply click on this. This would download the latest version. Okay, so this is one way where we can go to neotest.com and then try to download. Another one is you can go to tricentist.com, go to the products, and then click on, so there's performance testing under this tricentist NeoLoad. So this was again take us to the same web page, and okay, so now we can download this version here. I already downloaded this file so that we can save some time. You can just directly double click and then you can install it. Okay, but before we install the latest version, it is best to uh, remove the existing one. That is recommended, um, right? uh, because what happens sometimes, um, there is a chance that this would create to some certificate related issue or some kind of problem, right? This we can completely avoid. Okay, so I'm just uninstall. Let's say that there is an license installed. Okay, if we uninstall, we will not lose the license. The license will be intact. You can just simply upgrade it, and then you can just simply work with it. Okay, so now uninstallation successful. Finish. Okay, so I'm just going to install the latest version. So this is just extracting the files. Just might take a little bit. Okay, now choose the preferred language, English. Click on next. Let's say accept. Make sure that controller is selected here. Okay, and enable the WAN emulation. Provide the desired location here. This will start installing. So meanwhile, if anybody has any queries, you can just ask. We can discuss. You have a chat box. You can type it in. I hope I'm audible. Hello? Okay, fine. Thank you. Okay, it's almost done. Okay, this is done. Okay, just give allow access. Okay, now we have upgraded. One moment. Okay, so that's how we install NeoLoad. You can see the latest version. It's been there, and there are no license yet. License is not required for developing the scripts. We will be installing license when we are learning about runtime or execution and results. Okay. Um, Fine. Let's continue. So next topic is response code. Okay. We see response code is also called as a status code. HTTP status code are issued by the server in the response to the client's request. So if I'm the client, I'm sending something, right? If we say, let's say like when we are even interacting between two humans, if somebody says like hello and the other person responds to it, right? Like maybe hi or something like that. Um, so that is a kind of response. And so similar way in a similar fashion, what we see here is the browser communicates through HTTP, and the server responds with the HTTP status code, and this code is generally issued by the server itself. Okay, let's look at what are these different types. So 100 series means it's informational. Okay, 200 uh, is associated with success. 300 is all about redirection. 400 series is a client side error. 500 series is a server side error. Okay, these are the different response code or status code that are there. Okay, let's deep dive into this. Okay, so what are these status code, and how we can learn about this? Okay, so right now what we are seeing is just the different. So if I just said, right, 100 series, right? See, there are different numbers into it. Like 100 means it's just continue. Okay, it's all about information to the client. Okay, um, so there is like 100 and 100 means it's continue. 101 means switching the protocol, and there are many other information here. So out of these um, five different response codes, majorly we will be focusing on uh, 200, 400 series and 500 series. Okay, 100 series is quite rare, so we do not see this often. Next is the successful responses, which is 200 series. So here what we can see is like 200 OK is the most common uh, response code. Okay, so that means the request has succeeded. So it is a successful request, it's a valid request, and for that specific request, you also got the response. Okay, so 201 is possible. Um, we will be seeing this kind of responses when we are creating some record, right? Maybe creating an order or creating an user profile, right? 200 series. 202 accepted. This is a kind of acceptation, right? The request has been received but not yet acted upon. So it's like kind of a mainly used for, like as it says right here, it's like batch processing. And there are many other 200 series. We will not get to see all of them. Okay, it is so there is this 203, 204 and many other values here. Okay, majorly what we see here with respect to performance is 200 and 201. Okay, so next is the redirection messages. So as the name suggests, redirection means it's like the best example is like call forwarding. Okay, so when we are calling somebody and they have kept the call forward on, so that will forward that specific call to some other number. Okay, it's like that, it is very similar to that. um, right, so 300 means just have multiple response or multiple redirection. 301 moved permanently. So we are hitting one link, and then that link has permanently moved into a different link. Okay, so like that, like it's all about 300. uh, all 300 uh, series are is all about redirection, right? One or the other way. Majority of the time we will be seeing 301 or 302. uh, Occasionally we will see 307. but even 300 is not in our major focus. 400 is definitely a vital part, right? So this is all about client is sending something, some request, right? Um, so let's look at this, right? So 400 bad request. Okay, so I think some of you may already have seen some of them. Okay, we'll go through this. 400 bad request means something is wrong with the request. Okay, maybe it is some header is missing, or an authorization is missing, or maybe there is a uh, maybe some issue with the link or port, or some kind of syntactical uh, issue. Okay, so as it says, like the server could not understand the request because of it is invalid syntax. Okay, so this is 400. 401 unauthorized is like uh, the request is valid. Okay, so whatever that client is trying to access is valid, but the problem is that specific user or that specific moment, um, without providing some kind of authorization or kind of authentication, that specific request is being unauthorized. Okay, so the best example is, um, so let's say we are accessing, let's say I got uh, uh, like some link, right? So without the authorization, if I'm trying to access it, I so ideally a very good a secured application should not allow me to access that. Okay, so that throws 401. So this majorly happens when especially when there is no authorization. um, Usually this there are different various kinds of tokens, right? There is bearer token, CSRF token, XSRF token, all kinds of tokens. So if this authentication is not present in the as a part of the request, then probably this will throw unauthorized. Okay. Then 403 forbidden. This also one of the most common uh, occurrence. So it's like this. Okay, so I'm a normal user. Okay, and there is uh, uh, another user with having a lot of access to, let's say, some of the features, or let's assume that there is a manager. Okay, somehow I got the direct link for to access something, right? If I try to launch with my user, ideally it should not allow me to access. So what it means is that specific user does not have the rights for that specific content. Okay, but the content is available, it is there, but only that specific user is not authorized to look into it. So it's uh, forbidden for them for that. And then there is 404 not found. This is a very most common part, right? So there is no such request um, available in the server. That's all. It's like 404 not found. And then there are many other 400 series, right? You can always go through some of them. The most common is all these first five that we see. And then so request timeout, we see this sometimes when this usually happens with this kind of pulling calls or synchronous kind of applications. um, so there are many other so even I myself haven't seen many of these responses, right? Except for those first five. um, but however, it is good to learn about this. And this we might see this, right? 422 unprocessable entity. Okay. So before we saw a syntactic error, and this is it's due to some semantic errors. So what is this semantic errors? Um, when when we are accessing some application, right? There could be some constraints that that could come around accessing some data, some information. Okay, because of that constraint, it is um, the client uh, is unable to access it, and even the server is unable to process it. Okay, so this is often we can see it in there is a type of application like SSE. It's HTML5 SSE, server sent events, which is a push technology based applications. So we often get to see, so it's like two parts, right? When to retain a specific session, a client needs to keeps on sending something, right? Maybe some kind of packet or some kind of a communication needs to be established between the client and the server. Similarly, so this is called as polling calls. Okay. Similarly, if server sends something, like it's usually called as like push technology or push notification. Okay, and usually this happens with these server sent events. Okay, but anyways, I'm not sure. Even in my entire career, I haven't seen, like, only once I have uh, encountered that. So it's highly rare, and this we might see this, right? 429, too many requests. So within a given time frame, right? So the client has sent too many requests, or there's some kind of um, a policy, right, where the server will not receive uh, some kind of, there is a limit, right? So rate limiting, that's what we are saying here. And then there is a server error response. So again, this has to do only with the servers, and I think this is most common. This we might have seen this, right? 500 and 500 internal server error. So what this means is the server has come into some issue, right? So it doesn't understand what to do. So when this happens, so if we take any application, right? So this application will have many entities within that specific application. There could be a web server, app server, web sub server, DB servers, load balancers. There is a, for authenticating some kind of mechanism would be there, routers, and so on, right? There are like, so it's when we are referring to a server or maybe a production, right? Amalgamation of all of these entities together can be called as an environment. Okay, so let's say like there is an interface and some kind of uh, something doesn't work, right? um, Maybe within that specific environment, this might happen, right? Like 500 and 500 internal server error. Okay, 502 bad gateway, this also we must have encountered, where so it's related to gateway. Okay, so where it cannot handle the request. 503 service unavailable, just means the server has gone offline, or it cannot take um, any requests, or maybe the server has become too slow to handle any requests. So this will happen when the server is overloaded, right? um, so often so the best time to see this could be like when so the same similar example that we have seen, right? When if everybody wants to uh, trying to book a ticket or something like that, most probably beyond certain time, the server crashes, right? In gateway timeout, so there is a stipulated amount of time where the server waits, and then there won't be any response. Like usually it is 300 seconds, 5 minutes. Within that, if there is no response, then we get this 5044. And then the other versions, I mean the other numbers are there, which is not really frequent, or it is too occasional. Okay. So let's look at this. Like, so what is it about? So what I'm going to do is I'm just starting the Google Chrome Dev tool. I just launched it. So let's say I'm just saying I'm just going to google.com. Okay. So let's look at this. Okay. So the first request is google.com. Okay. But if we see the status here, the status is 301. Let's look at this. So what it says, the request URL is https:/google.com. Okay. Although we got the response, it is saying 301. Okay. So let's go here. Let's try to see what is 301. Moved permanently. Okay. So what this has moved to? So from google.com, it has moved to www. So that only this part got added on this request. Okay, that is all. So this, let me close this. Okay, so this request is a redirection. Okay, it got moved permanently to this request, and this is a valid request, or this is a main request. Okay, this has 200. There is another example. If I just click on, if go to fb.com. Okay, if you see this similar kind of example. Okay, so ideally my wish to is to go to facebook.com, but there is a shortcut available here. I think we can just go here, fb.com. From here this gets moved to facebook.com. Okay, also use this. So let's say I'm looking at something that is maybe invalid. So what do I say? Let's say something like some random, just launching. Okay, so what happened? If you see this, right, maybe there is no such kind of pages available within this facebook.com. Okay, I've just simply randomly executed this. So what happened here? It says like status is 404, right? So 404 means, it just means not found. So I have launched something that is not there, that is not available within this facebook.com. It's just completely random. Okay, so however I got a response. It's like I got like 404. Then I got this, it's a broken page. So the link you have followed may be broken, or the page may have been removed. There is no such thing available here. So this is like some example, right? That a practical example for some of these response codes. There is for 500 to just show it to you for 500 series could be difficult, because the server has to go down, or there has to be some issue with the server, or yeah, right. So this is the example, uh, practical example. Any questions here? Hmm. Guys, I wish to keep this somewhat interactive, else it's just one way, and it might go a little boring. I'm really unsure if I'm audible, or if you can hear me though.
Yeah, Naveen, you're audible.
Okay, okay. Fine. Let me continue. Okay, so let's learn about next topic is workflow types. Okay, so ideally, since we had already discussed this, so there are two groups, right? One is unauthenticated, okay, unauthenticated workflows. So what is this unauthenticated workflows? Means the user is not identified by the server. Okay. Another part is authenticated workflows, which is the user is identified by the server. So what is this? The user is identified or the user is unidentified. Okay. Um, so let me just quickly show you here. So I'm just going to Amazon uh, website. So this is a e-commerce site. I can just directly go here and then click on something, then simply browse, and I can look at maybe mobiles and accessories. So I can just directly go ahead and then browse this, and I still get to see what is there, um, right. So I can just simply go here, click on today's deals, and you get it, right. So I need not log in here. Okay, I need not log in here, but I could directly launch this uh, website. I can just go ahead and then browse. I can do all the window shopping, right. I can just see, look for something that is maybe that is required for me. Maybe there's some deals are on here. Maybe this mixie is up to 67% off, something like this, right. I'm able to just go ahead and then see this, and I can use almost 98 percentage of the features that is available within the say. I can use this, um, what price range I'm looking for. I can filter this option. I can probably sort it. See this, right. Low to high price discounts. um, I could check almost every almost as I said, like 98 percentage of the website's information and its features, I am able to access without even signing in, or I need not authenticate myself to use this website. Okay, maybe if I'm checking out something, right. Maybe I have added some phones to my cart, or some items to my cart, and then I wish to check out. Maybe that time I can sign in. I need not sign in the moment I launch, or to even look through this application. Okay, so this is, or majority of this transactions can be considered as an unauthenticated transactions, and whatever the um series of transactions or actions that is being performed unauthenticated can be called as unauthenticated workflows. Okay, whereas on the other hand, if I go to facebook.com, okay, The moment I launch here, this will ask me to sign in, right? So without me signing in to this application, I think almost everybody has used Facebook, right? Everybody knows what is inside. Probably we know this. There is, so maybe once a user is logged into Facebook, what he or she might do, we can go to notifications or click on messages, check their friend requests, add, remove, or maybe simply scroll the news feed. There are variety of features that is there, right, with Facebook, but none of them is accessible unless we log in. So here almost 100% of the, or let's say 99% of the transactions are authenticated transactions. So without authenticating, without having an authorized transaction, we won't be able to access this application. Okay, so this kind of, even this is applicable. Yeah. Sorry.
Um, Naveen, can we put this in a way where um, a user's information, like most of his information, is accessible by server, let us say his name or phone number, which are authenticated by the server. Only then we can call him as an authenticated user or something like that. Can we put this in way? Apart from
uh,
location or anything as such.
Sorry, I didn't get you.
Um, uh, you gave an example of Amazon.in for unauthenticated users, right?
Correct, correct, yes.
Um,
I mean
I'll take that
unauthenticated
example.
transaction.
Transactions. Uh,
Yes,
but their server will not have any information of the user who is using that website, right?
correct, correct, correct. The
Uh,
server will not
it
have
means
any
that
information.
mm, so we can put it in that way, right? Where a server will not have any
Correct.
access to the information of the user who is using that website. So those kind of transactions we can call it as unauthenticated. Uh,
Um, I mean, in a rudimentary way, we can say that, but
mhm.
I will get into more technical part, like how
Okay.
how this, even this is narrowed. We have to narrow it down, and then
Hmm.
which all the transaction can be considered as unauthenticated and which all could be considered as authenticated. I will get to that part, but
Okay.
for now, this is the idea, right? So
Yep.
whatever the application that allows us to simply access without the need of logging in, or without the need of authorizing or identifying the users, which user,
Mhm.
uh, the transactions that is being performed prior to login can be called as
Mm-hmm.
unauthenticated. And
Okay.
this is like on the transaction level. We are looking for on the transaction level.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So if we look at maybe any banks. Uh, okay, so I'm just going to one of the industry leaders, ICICI Bank. So if I go here, if we see this, right? Um, so BSFI, we call it, like banking, finance, insurance, right? These sectors uh, uh, to be considered as like the most secured and most compliant applications. Okay. So here, if we see this, right, there are a lot of things that still we will be able to see it and then access it, um, right? It's
Yeah.
kind of like at least 50 to 60% of the information is accessible to us, and most of them are kind of generic. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
but when we log into our account, it'll be like totally different, right? So
Yeah.
I'm sure if you have noticed here,
Yep. Yep.
before it is just ICICI Bank. and when I try to log in, this has become like
Change to some
infinity.
infinity.
Yes, so the entire address itself got changed. And when we log into this, again we will have like more personalized, maybe
Mm,
it's all about like transferring funds and checking the account statement and various other information. And
yeah.
even banks will follow very strict kind of
Mm,
compliance, where you can
authentication.
only
Yeah.
go forward. Yes,
Mm,
it's like after authenticating, even after authenticating, there's so many
mm,
things that gets followed by the banks, right? You can only
yeah.
go forward. If you, in case if by mistakenly you click back button or refresh button, what it will
You'll come
automatically
back to
log
the
you out.
login page. Yeah.
Uh, yes, it will log you out because it is like
Yeah.
it is created so that it is more secured. That is
Yeah.
why they have such kind of very strict. And even if you are not active for maybe 2 minutes or 3 minutes, again this
Session is
will,
gonna expire.
yes, yes,
That
session
is the error
gets
we get.
expired.
Right.
And
Mm,
yes, so we will learn, right, how
mm,
how how this authentication is determined, how the server is able to keep up these sessions, and how it is able to log you out, and all kinds of things, how it is managed to do it. This will learn technically. Okay,
mm.
so we will do a simple example. Okay,
Okay.
um, so I'm just going to record. So this is the first one. What we have recorded is just in unauthenticated workflow. Okay, where
Mhm.
we did not do any sign in or something like that. um, we will, so I'm going to record another workflow here. Okay, so I'm going to call this as authenticated workflow. Okay, so let's just quickly see uh, a difference. Okay, so I've just clicked on the recording. Okay, and then I'm clicking on launch. Okay, I'm launching the application. Then what I do is I'll just sign in. Can't sign in. So I got to this login page. I'm not sure whether if the users are active. Let me check here. I had, okay, so the, okay, let me check. I had created this user a while back. Okay, it says invalid, means it is not active yet. Let me create a user quickly. So this is not a valid script, so I'm just deleting this. So I click on register. So I'm just keeping the user ID and password same. Okay,
Mhm.
I'm just providing a random information. Okay, then I just click on save information. Now I'm able to log in. The user has created. So now we will record. So launch. Sorry, sign in. Sign in. Click login. Okay, I'm not sure. Me log in once again. I think probably I have given some.
You're given the wrong. No, no, this is correct.
Okay, I am logged in now,
Mm.
and I'll just log out. Okay, stop. So this is the post recording wizard. So once we complete our recording, we will get this wizard. So we
Mhm.
have to uncheck whatever that is not required. So if we see this, right, tile
Mm.
service or whether Microsoft, this is not a part of our project or the application. So whichever that is not a part of our application, we just have to uncheck them.
Okay.
This we will come back when we learn about correlation, which is
Mhm.
in the next session we will be doing it. So for now, I'm just keeping this step, and then use recorded think times, and then again just can skip this, click on finish. So this login is not a valid login, so I'm just disabling this. So there is a standard when we disable some transaction in the middle. What we will do is we will just move it to end, where
Mhm.
we will not use this. If we just check, so during the recording, in case if we click something wrong, so as it happened, right, when I try to log in, so first, so let me check what went wrong here. So it says auto password 2. I must have provided the wrong password.
Mhm.
See, instead of jpet user, I have provided, instead of p, I have given o. So I'll come back to this, like what is this auto password, and when we discuss about it. um, so if we see this transactions,
Mhm.
so this is the launch. If we look at this launch, there won't be any changes. It is just the same ditto. We do not
Yeah.
see any differences here. um, but if we look at sign in, again nothing here. Okay, so can just, but if we look at this, right, login, click login. So we have provided only the jpet user, that is the username and the password, only these values
Mhm.
that we had provided. Okay, we never provided this information, correct, the source page
Yeah.
or the, there is this information. Okay,
Okay.
so what is happening here is, this is kind of a dynamic values. Okay, so this dynamic values are generally generated or created by the server, and then it sends to the client, and then it expects this value to be provided um, when we are logging in. Okay, this might uh, might little like, let's say for beginners, this might like might little bit kind of fuzzy, that you may not understand at this point of time. But um, ideally, uh, what all the transaction that we could call that as authenticated transactions, whenever there is some kind of this dynamic values getting passed. Okay, wherever there are no dynamic values can be called as unauthenticated transactions. Okay, however, there are some dependencies, there could be some dependencies. See, for example, like Facebook. Okay, Facebook transactions, that is like clicking on notifications or maybe going to the messages, we can only access provided the prerequisite is we already log into the system, else we won't be able to look at it. In e-commerce websites like Amazon, we can log in, sorry, we can access almost 98% of the uh, applications feature or the data that is available. But to to perform certain things like maybe placing an order or checking your account history, order history, checking your whether where your order is shipped or not, all of those information can be checked, falls under that the other 2%. So just to simply visit the web page and browse, there are no major authentication are there. Okay, for banking related applications, um, we could say like half of the applications can be accessed without any authentication required or authorization, right? Even if we try to log into such system, what happens is there is clearly they have bifurcated from generic information website, and then the other, that is like personal banking or corporate banking. So that is, they have kept it separately. Okay, when we log into the banking related applications, each and every transaction we will be seeing, or each and every request, in fact, we will be seeing such kind of um, dynamic values. Okay, if you see this specific login transaction, it is coming in like two, um, right? So I'm just going here. I'm going to recorded response. Okay, so this is the response that it got recorded. So if I go to recorded request, so in the request, what happened? Username, password is just hidden. Okay, just for like because of auto password. Uh, the standard is that the values is not um, what do we see? It's not explicitly sent. Okay, so it's kind of hidden here. But if we look at these values, right, there is source page and then there is FP that also gets passed along with its parameter. Its recorded response is, see this, right, 302, and we have already seen 302 means it is found, but it is moving to a different link. So here the the web page may have started here, but it ended here. So this both together can be called as like so this has to come together only. This cannot be like inseparable kind of thing. So if we see here, right, so the request type, what it says is follow the redirect of the previous request. So it started here. This is the origin, this is the kind of, what do we say, destination kind of thing. For with origin, there is no recorded response, there is no body here. okay, because that is that nature of its request. Okay, it is just provided a response where it has redirected from this response to this response. Only this response, now here what we see is the 200 which is successful, and then we see the body. Okay, so in short, the authenticated transactions, whenever we see these kind of dynamic values, or maybe in the headers, I think some of you may have already worked with, like in this headers we might have seen this, there is a separate header that will get passed like authorization with its corresponding value, right? Okay, so that is the difference between this authenticated and the unauthenticated transaction. We will dive deep into this topic as we progress. Okay, so any questions on today's topic, anything on the response code, or maybe what we have just seen in today's session?
No, Naveen. So far, from my side, there is no doubt. But I need to clarify one thing.
Mhm.
Today we just installed or downloaded the NeoLoad into our system, and we just
Yes.
tried looking into those response code. But
Mm.
I tried already by looking at your blog in Perf where you have explained briefly how exactly we can do along with the screenshot and all those things. So I tried
Yes.
to record it. Mm,
Hmm.
the thing is, it somehow throws this proxy error. So I tried to set the proxy according to the instructions you give, but still
Hmm.
again, not able to record the script properly.
Okay.
I try to install the proxy into my OS as well as, in the server. Sorry, in
Hmm.
the browser, I changed the proxy to 8090, which is NeoLoad proxy.
Hmm.
I don't know where I missed. So can we expect this tomorrow?
Yes,
Setting
yes.
up the proxy and recording.
Or else, if you're having bandwidth, I can make you a presenter. You can present your screen. I can
Uh-huh.
probably, I mean, if you're ready with that, or else we can check tomorrow,
Ah,
where I could make you a presenter, and maybe you can keep everything open and ready. We can
mhm.
troubleshoot it.
Okay, then that's well because I'm parallelly working with my project using the NeoLoad. It's like
Uh-huh.
I have to do a hands-on within this particular amount of time, so I'm trying to do that.
Mm. So
So
the issue is coming up with your project
from
system
my
laptop?
project, yeah, yeah.
Not okay. Okay. So there could be few uh, what do I say? Okay, may I know which domain your project is? Like
It's the
retail,
new
healthcare,
one. It's like most of the thing. We can say it as e-commerce related to that.
e-commerce only. Okay, fine.
Uh,
I'm not sure for generally e-commerce kind of projects, there won't be any major restrictions. But however, we
mhm,
cannot say due to this pandemic and increased work from home, and they want to have a very highly
mhm,
secured and compliant systems. So they have, I
mhm,
mean, all the companies have installed so many things on the system, some security
mhm.
related things. Maybe there is
Yeah.
a possibility that it is blocking, right? Or
Mm-hmm.
it might not give you the necessary access. Um, so generally, it is called as kind of elevated access. Okay.
Okay.
Um, if I mean, if not admin access, at least elevated access should be
Uh,
provided, where you can at least record and see. Generally, this recording, all these sometimes the security applications or software that are there in your system, what it will
mhm,
mark it as kind of uh, kind of a suspicious activity, because it is recording
Yeah.
your network activity, right? So
Mm.
it's kind of a network sniffer or something. So all kinds of the recent Trojan horse, or the virus, or all those things, right? The malwares. Generally, it is on those lines, right? It will track what you're doing and something like that. Maybe there is a possibility that it might have marked NeoLoad also under that. So this sometimes we have to get in touch with the network team and then try to
Mhm.
resolve it. But tomorrow we will check.
Yeah.
Tomorrow we can check,
I'll
and
yeah.
yeah.
I'll
Okay.
try again to record it. Maybe I
Mm,
would have missed few things from my end also because I didn't
mm,
go through properly. I was just looking at the screenshot and hurriedly I was doing from one laptop and I
okay.
was just copying and trying to do it. I'll try to do this again tomorrow. If still the issue
Mm.
is persisting, I'll listen to your class properly and then I'll ask you the talk. I just wanted to confirm that
Yes, yes.
we're gonna be no tomorrow.
Mm.
Can we start this actual recording and setting up the certificates, proxy, and all those things?
Yes, yes. We can do it. We can maybe once the like how
Mhm.
once the session is over, it'll be
Mm.
the Q&A sessions or troubleshooting shooting sessions will be open, where I can make you a presenter. You can show your
Oh,
screen, and we all can troubleshoot this issue.
yeah.
Yeah, we can do that tomorrow.
Yep. Sure, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. So, any other questions? Anybody has? Okay, I take that as a no. Fine, guys. Then we will catch up tomorrow, same time.
Cheers. Yeah. Cheers, Mike.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Naveen, we'll be getting the
Yeah.
recording of today's class, right?
Yes, 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 yes.
Okay.
Um, so tomorrow midday, uh,
Mm-hmm.
the following day we will be getting the recording. It will be
Okay.
published. Okay.
All right.
Right.
Thank you,
Thank
Naveen.
you.
Bye.